Perfect.
Okay, are we live, guys?
Yep.
Are we live?
All right. So I don't know what this is gonna turn into, but just a first test video on our thoughts on the market, and more specifically, like Luke's expert thoughts on the market, and just generalized.
Oh yeah.
And just generalized information for my kids in the future. So very interesting topics. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I mean, the summer's been fairly tough, very choppy, but that also comes with kind of the seasonality where the sell in May, go away theme has been heightened this year with all the trade war news and the headline risk with Trump tweeting if tariffs are on or tariffs are off. And momentum growth stocks kind of started taking a dive end of August and have just slowly started to pick up the past week or so. But again, that goes with a lot of the seasonality where typically the strongest times in the market are October through January. So there is hope at the light of the tunnel.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, even last week, they were talking about a potential China and U.S. tariff deal, and kind of put some hope into the markets, and saw a nice little rally into the end of the week with a few select growth stocks starting to set up and lead as well, mainly the traditional semis, solars, kind of been the recent leaders over the past month or so. Yeah, it's been tough, but still outperforming the SPY.
So I gotta flex. Still doing well. That's good.
Exactly. But I mean, for this week, could see a little bit back and fill, just kind of chop, just digest a little bit of the big 2-3% move that we saw to end the week. Kind of get the maybe get the FOMO out of the market, but really just kind of push it higher into the year end with earnings season coming up too. Earnings season will be big, and how especially the big growth leaders, the Amazon, Apples, Facebooks, the FANGs kind of perform over the next earnings season will be a big statement in terms of how the market overall will likely perform going into year end, and if the Fed just keeps cutting rates too. Overall,
isn't it weird? Like Apple's already leading up, like performing well into earnings. It's not even earnings season yet, and Apple's already like showing signs like a positive earning pop already happened.
Yeah, I mean there is a thing pre-earnings run with 2 to 3 weeks into earnings. You can see, especially in the growth stocks, that there's high expectations for good growth. Some people try and front run it. Some institutions try and front run it. Just creates kind of almost a follow-on effect going into that earnings season. And yeah, it's kind of hard to be too bearish on the market when you see, especially on a relative basis, the XLK over SPY chart is basically breaking out of the ascending triangle on the weekly time frame, which large caps have kind of been leading the rally. Large cap techs have been leading the rally really since the financial crisis, and it's hard to be that bearish overall in the markets when you have XLK over SPY on a relative basis at a new all-time high.
Yeah, exactly. I think we might get back into the 2017 market where the leaders were leading and like everything was just starting to trend back up, and like trading was a lot easier. So I mean, this summer, a lot of names that looked like they were perking up just absolutely failed after breaking out. They'd shoot up and then they'd sell off like immediately.
Yeah.
And I mean, we've tried orienting the strategy around it. I tried running numbers that would take advantage of it, but it's tough. It's a tough environment.
Yeah, and really from a growth name perspective, a lot of the big leaders are still going to need time to build out bases. There was a really, really big run kind of in growth names over the past year and a half, and just going to need some time to build out those bases, and hopefully earnings season you'll kind of see those new leaders emerge. There's really only a handful of tech names like DocuSign coming out of a nice weekly base, IPO base, had earnings pop, in post-earnings drift. Probably one of the more significant growth leaders in my mind. Same with SolarEdge, SEDG with the solars. But it's not like all hands on deck like we saw to begin the year, where you buy a post-earnings pop and it just takes you to the heavens.
Yeah, hopefully it's the start of it, like a really early start, so we'll see.
Yeah.
All right, now advice for the future generation. I'm going to shift the camera angle.
Yeah.
1 second. That was a nice crispy shot on you. Here, can you put your hand out right there, like right where I was sitting? Okay, yeah. Am I not that tall? All right, perfect. Okay. Now, completely off topic, but still important. Like, what lessons would you want to like pass on to your kids, like based on your journey right now and like the success that you're seeing, and potentially understanding that you may be significantly more successful in the future? Like, what advice would you give your kids, like when they become our age, or even starting out young on like entrepreneurship or just being a good person, or life in general?
Yeah, I think just keep grinding. Unless you're incredibly gifted, it's not going to come easy. You're either going to have to just outwork the person next to you, or figure out a way to work smarter than them, and don't really expect that success to come immediately. There's people that are way smarter than you out there in the world that have already figured it out, and you either have to figure out how to do it better than them, or just keep grinding and keep working hard. Just put in the hours, and eventually, and just find people that can help cut that learning curve for you, or find resources, even if you have to pay for them, that will help cut that learning curve, so that you can start working smarter and harder at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, like, I'm 20 right now, and I started my entrepreneurial journey when I was 17, or just got into the mindset, and I thought like 3 years into the journey or 2 years into the journey I'd be set and I'll be making money. But the thing is, like, especially in this day and age, what's selling is the entrepreneurial lifestyle and like how you can make money quick. But the thing is, it's not the case for most people, and getting like just seeing pop-ups on Instagram about like, oh, how like all these like young people are becoming successful. Like, you have to understand the sample size. Like, out of like the 10 kids who are making thousands or hundreds of thousands a month, like there are only 10 out of like 10 million. You know, it's very, very small percentage of people who are actually outperforming the market significantly. So I think orienting your strategy around that, understanding that you probably won't be that 0.1% of kids who actually are successful, is really important, and understanding that you need to have a backup plan, or having a safe, like, protected upbringing. So you need to still go to college, unless, like Luke said earlier today, like you have just a tremendous idea and you can identify the beginning of a trend. You know, it's better to hedge your bets than to go all in. So if I'm gonna do something entrepreneurial, I would rather do it on the side alongside my education and perform on school than just go balls out and just just completely drop everything and just go for my dream, quote unquote.
Yeah, because the chance of you hitting your dream the first time isn't that big. Likely it's gonna take 5 years to become an overnight success. It's not just gonna happen instantly just because you figure something out. Only if you're in the right time at the right place, or the right place at the right time.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, we're still both really young, and we still have time. Obviously, Luke has better experience, and he's further into the journey than I am. But you know, eventually we'll get there, and you know, it'll be worth it. It'll be worth it. It's really tough, and it's so hard day to day to live through it and not see any results. But I always picture when I'm older and I'm telling like my kids, like, oh, this is what it takes, and this is what you have to go through. So it's always easier in the end,
Yep.
but it's worth it to push through. Yeah. Awesome.
Good way to end it.
Yeah, exactly.